Hello again. President Matamela Cyril Ramaphosa has officially launched the Border Management Authority as South Africa's third law enforcement agency this afternoon. His Zimbabwean counterpart, Emmerson Mnangagwa, joined the president for the launch in Musina. The division was established to ensure the country's borders will be secure. For more now on how the launch unfolded and thoughts about the way forward in making sure our borders are no longer porous, let's go to the northern part of South Africa, there where the launch was near the border with Zimbabwe. Moloko Moloto joining us at this hour. Moloko, firstly, I understand you've got two guests with you, but very briefly, just summarized for us, how did the launch go?
Well, good afternoon, Braden Moyani. The border town, the small town of Musina in the northernmost part of our country, is today a hive of activity. The President of the Republic, Cyril Ramaphosa, officially launching the Border Management Agency or Authority, I beg pardon, which essentially is responsible primarily to secure our borders, our ports of entry, as well as the borderlines. Of course, for many years, there has been complaints and concerns that our borders are porous. We have heard from the president when he was delivering his keynote address, saying that the deficiencies that had been there for a long time had actually allowed organized crime and corruption to thrive. And he is confident, therefore, that the consolidation of all those efforts and the work, as you heard the Minister of Home Affairs saying previously, there were about 58 acts of parliament that were governing the border and the whole process of securing borders. Now they have now been consolidated into a single act of parliament. But let's hear from the man who's now officially responsible for this BMA, the authority, the Border Management Authority. His name is Dr. Mike Masia-Poto. Thank you so much for making time, Commissioner, and congratulations there. Maybe in a nutshell, if you can just take our viewers through the whole process and the whole purpose for today's activity. What was important today?
Yeah, maybe the first thing to indicate is that indeed the Border Management Authority had officially started working as a Schedule 3A public entity from the 1st of April 2023. So since then we have actually started integrating all the various functions that are done at the port of entry. So mainly is immigration, agricultural, environmental, as well as health, including access control. So we've started doing that. However, today, because the Border Management Authority stands as a, I would say, the third law enforcement authority of the Republic, which is National Armed Law Enforcement Authority, the President of the Republic had to officially launch it as the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. So on that basis, what he had to do critically today was fairly two things. The first thing was to rank all the three, I would say, top commissioners that he had appointed into the authority to lead it. That is myself as the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, the two deputy commissioners, one operations, one corporate. And then additional to that, he had to then give the sword of authority from him as the Commander-in-Chief into the Commissioner of the Border Management Authority to start doing the work.
Let's talk about the men and women in green here who were parading before the president. Last year in July, I remember you hired over 200 of them. Tell us if you have added onto that workforce. Primarily, what are their duties?
Yeah, you see, if you look at those that has been here, you know, on the parade ground, those are, I will say, our law enforcers, particularly in the vulnerable segments of the borderline. They are to be deployed in those areas. So additional to the 200 that we have launched last year, we added 21, and then today we're adding 400 extra. And over and above the 400, we also put in the 50 coastal guards. You will see they are wearing kind of a different uniform, a navy blue uniform. So those are the ones that are going to go to the coastline to be able to do the protection of our marine resources and all of that. But in terms of these ones, they are more for the deployment at the borderline in the inland, as it were, to the vulnerable segments, to deal with issues such as your cross-border crimes, the issues of illegal migration, to deal with the movement of illicit goods and all of those kind of.
This particular area, the Bait Bridge, is one of those vulnerable areas, I suppose. Yeah. And on our way here this morning, we actually saw some of the undocumented foreign nationals crossing, coming out of the bushes, crossing the highway, dangerous dangerously so. A clear indication to me that despite the fact that over 200 men and women were employed last year to do this job, they really haven't made much headway. Am I wrong?
No, you say in terms of headway, we will say if you look at the 200 that we have launched, they were not necessarily to be deployed only here. It was they were to be deployed at the 6 vulnerable segments, of which Bait Bridge was one of those. So I think one of the things that we can indicate as part of demonstrating the headway, up to this point we can talk about 35,000 individuals that were intercepted, that were recorded, and we had to get them deported. 95,000 were also intercepted and also deported. Around 141 vehicles were actually intercepted after being stolen in the Republic with the intention of crossing the border. So those are some of the successes that we can actually reflect upon.
Let's conclude then, Commissioner. This is a new entity. Let's talk about the money. How much has this cost the taxpayer up to now, and how much money would you say you would require to have a full complement in order to function properly?
You see, the first element in terms of I would say the financials, we got around 1.3 billion that came from the departments, which was actually an operational expenditure plus the staff employee salaries. That money had always been there in the state, and it was just located in those departments. So it was transferred to the BMA. That's the first part. In terms of the recruitment we did for the additional 200, we got around 76 million from the state. And now as we speak, there's a lot of money that will be required, obviously. There is technologies that needs to be procured, going into the future. So we are looking...
Currently, do you have drones?
No, we don't have as yet. As the Border Management Authority, we don't have already, but we've already started engaging with AMSCO so that they can start procuring those kind of tools.
All right, thank you so much for your time. The Commissioner of the Border Management Authority, Dr. Mike Masiapot, I'm told he's at the level of the National Police of the Police. Let's speak to Lisiba Tubakale. He is from the South African Police Union, and additional members who are going to be doing the work that seeks to secure South Africans. Are you confident that they are up to the task?
Thank you, Moloko, for having us. As SAPU, we clearly welcome the issue of Border Management Authority, because we know that our borders were not really coordinated, because all the departments that were there, they were working in silos, they were not working together. Now, under Border Management Agency, everyone is coordinated, and there is one commander who will clearly give the marching orders to say what should happen. So we are very confident as SAPU that Border Management Agency, through that coordination, will bring a difference. But further to that, it goes to the issue of having budget. We are calling on government, if they are really taking this serious, they need to make sure that there is more money pumped into Border Management Agency.
I want to quickly bring the PSA, but you heard the Commissioner saying that they do not have drones, for instance, so it would be the physical work which these men and women will have to do. Do you think they will really be able to crack it, considering that the borderline is that long?
We are confident that if the numbers are increased, because this is part of policing, we have to be clear, it's law enforcement, it is policing. If they are capacitated with the 400 that are there in the college as we speak, and they increase numbers and also increase technology, because that technology has to be there for them to make sure that they are doing what they are supposed to do in order to make sure that the borderline is secured, in order to make sure that they are in charge of border control.
All right, thank you so much. So quickly introduce yourself and your name and the organization you come from. We have run out of time, but also, do you welcome this development?
Greetings are in order. Indeed, we welcome the development. My name is Matimba Justice Shiburi, PSA President. We are really grateful for the initiative that has been taken by the government. And I'm happy because earlier on when we were asking my colleague, you also hinted the fact that on your way here you saw undocumented foreigners using ways that are not welcome. Exactly. So we are saying, as much as we are doing this, let the government stop with these arrest measures whereby we are aware that they are putting the moratorium, and then if we are to win this battle, we say we need a lot of men and women out there, and then let them assist in the technology.
Finally then, you heard the president saying that the deficiencies that existed in our borders allowed corruption to thrive. I would presume that that corruption existed among the workers, the people that you represent. This time around, are these new ones immune from corruption? The cold drink. Are they going to resist that cold drink?
Thank you so much. It's always been a call from our side to say, as a PSA, we are a very disciplined organization, and then we are leaders at our own right, whereby we also tell our members.
But do you agree with the president that there was corruption?
Definitely, it goes without saying.
And it was done by your members?
Not by our members, but we know certain quarters from the public sector they were doing that. Our members were very disciplined. We know what it means to steal from the public pets, because it's not only affecting those that are already in existence, but it's also affecting the future development of our society.
Thank you so much for your time. It has all come to an end here in Musina. The president has given the armed forces the marching orders to go and secure the borders of South Africa. The taste of the pudding is in the eating. We'll wait to see whether they will be able to win this war against criminality, as well as the overflow of the undocumented foreign nationals into South Africa. Braden?
Thank you very much, Moloko. You raised a very important point there about the use of technology like drones, and of course there's more that can be utilized, and also beefing up the authority itself. That's Moloko Moloto in Musina.